In the middle of my third year of teaching, so I'd done my 2 years in Teach for America plus 1 semester, Joanne had moved back to Houston at this time, and she was teaching in Aldine ISD, and I was trying to keep IDEA running as part of the district. And it was just clear to me that for a variety of reasons, we were never going to be able to thrive if we were under the auspices of the district. So I decided to apply for a charter, which is what KIPP had done and what Yes College Prep had done, and I had visited both of those schools and was deeply impressed and very inspired. So I applied to the state of Texas. We got our application turned in. It was, paper about that thick, and I remember getting it off in the mail, and then a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call from the Texas Education Agency, and they said, Tom, you've passed the minimal score, whatever it is that you needed to go to the next level. They said, so now you've got to come testify before the State Board of Education. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen an episode of C-SPAN. Watching C-SPAN is quite dull. Living C-SPAN is frightening. I mean, it's energizing, and talk about your heart pumping. Here I was, 24 years old, sitting in my solitary chair behind a microphone, and there's this semicircle of elected officials in front of me, all of whom are 50, 60, mid-60s, white hair. They just look so distinguished and so intimidating from their perch. And I was, just terrified that there was no way I was going to be able to persuade them to give me a chance to launch a school. Well, thankfully for me, before I testified, Chris Barbic, the founder of Yes College Prep, he already had a school up and running. It was getting remarkable results. He really was the darling of the State Board of Education. I mean, they just loved the guy. He's good looking, he's funny, he's charismatic, his school results were exceptional. And he was talking about a totally unrelated, subject. And at the very, very end of his testimony, he said, you guys are going to hear in a few minutes from this guy named Tom Torkelson, and he's running a program down in South Texas, and they're the next big thing in education. You guys should approve it. And just like that, all of the problems that they had flagged in our application, and they were significant problems, everybody else who had the challenges that we had got denied. But because Chris Barbic had provided that little bit of advocacy and boosterism, I mean, every question I got was a total softball. I remember Grace Shore, the chairwoman of the planning committee who was responsible for us at the State Board of approving charters. Her questions went from being very hard to the people before me to being quite easy. She said, your numbers in your budget don't add up. You're going to fix that, right, sweetie? She's like, yes, ma'am. And sort of everything she pointed out, it was, you're going to take care of that, right? And my answer was, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And that basically was the entirety of my testimony, was me saying yes, ma'am. And thanks to Chris Barbic, we were unanimously approved the next day by the State Board of Education.